Hello, cool cats and kittens. A couple of people have asked me how I make poached eggs because it's a little bit tricky and the main thing is just practice. But over the years that I've practiced doing it, there's a few tips that I picked up to make sure that they are as perfect as they can be every time. And they don't need crazy contraptions or doing like weird things. It's all stuff that you're going to have in your kitchen anyway, and this is just the technique that I use to make sure they come out good. So here we go. So what are you going to need? You're going to need your eggs, some salt, pepper. I season with a bit of cayenne as well. That's a sort of personal preference thing. A tiny bit of white wine vinegar, some nice fresh bread, obviously to put your eggs on. Slotted spoon, a nice big pan, which we're going to pour some water in, and then the key ingredient is a push pin. And I'm going to show you why in just a sec. So first up, we're going to get the water boiling. So I've had a little bit on already, and I boiled a kettle. Lots of water. You can't have too much. You can have too little. And then into the water, we are going to, let me turn this round. Can't turn it. So big pan of water on, then we're just going to salt the water, decent bit of salt, and then the white wine vinegar. This really is just a little splash. And actually you don't need this so much if you're only making one egg. One thing that the vinegar's good at doing is stopping two eggs from sticking together. But it does help slightly if you're only doing one anyway. Don't need a wooden spoon. Got the spoon here. So just get the water ready, and you want this boiling. You want the water at a strong boil. While that's happening, you prepare the eggs. If you didn't know, all eggs have a small air bubble inside them. That's why if you boil an egg or you stick it in the microwave, they'll burst, and that's because the air pocket expands when it's heated and cracks the egg, not necessarily the egg contents or the liquid egg contents itself expanding. And 99 times out of 100, that air pocket is at the blunt end of the egg. So an egg has a sort of blunt end and a pointy end. So there's a way of checking. So I keep my eggs in the fridge. Some people do, some people don't. It's not essential to do that, but I do find that they stay a little bit fresher, a little bit longer when I do. So the eggs are always cold when they come out of the fridge. And that also means the air pocket inside is also cold. So the easy way to check whether the air pocket exists or not is just to put the blunt end against your lip. Actually, if you do it with the pointed end first, you'll feel that the egg feels cold to the touch. But when you do it on the blunt end, it feels cold and it very quickly warms up, and that's the air pocket warming up really quickly, and that is where the air pocket is. So you then just take the push pin and just pierce the egg. So I'm just going to do that on both of mine, and sometimes you'll find that the air pocket's sort of slightly to one side or the other. So that method just does make sure that you accurately puncture the air pocket. Now the water is up to a decent boil, and what we do now is we actually put the eggs in their shell. I know it doesn't look like a poached egg yet, just for 10 seconds. Eight, 9, 10, and then we take them back out. And what this does is it just starts to solidify the white of the egg, and it makes it a lot easier to crack. Now, turn the heat off and stop it bubbling. You don't want it to be bubbling when you crack the eggs into the water. In fact, we don't want the water to boil anymore anyway. So now, also give the eggs a couple of seconds just to cool down before you pick them up, because they will be hot from the boiling water. Now you just want to carefully crack them in. And I don't know how well that came out, but But let me just turn that round. You'll see. So I've cracked both in now, as you can see, and I'm going to leave the heat off. And now all I want to do is, just after they've been in for a few seconds, just agitate them slightly, just to make sure they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. I'm a big fan of stainless steel pans. I've had these stainless steel pans for probably 15 years. And as you can see, they kind of look as good as the day they were bought. And so yeah, big fan of stainless steel. I think the non-stick stuff has its place, but you know, non-stick pans are always destroy themselves. So the eggs are in the pan now. They'll take sort of 3 to 4 minutes, and we leave the heat off, and they'll just cook in that really hot water. So whilst that's happening, I'm just going to toast some bread and get that ready. So just while the toast is finishing, I'll give you, so it's just been sort of 3 minutes or so while the eggs have been in here. And you see they're starting to sort of firm up now. Just give them a little flop in the water, and you're just looking for the whites just to be firm, and that's when they're done. Now toasted, just a little bit of this lovely pepper poppy seed sourdough. Just butter that, obviously Lurpak, the king of butters, splashed out this week. Not the usual flora. A little bit of that. If you want to do the chefy thing, butter them not on the plate, and then all the crumbs drop on there. And then pop it on the plate, and you'll get a nice clean plate. Let's pop this over here so you can see what's happening. Now we can dish out the eggs. So just carefully with a slotted spoon, just remove them, and then just drain that against the side of the pan. As long as you keep a close eye on them, it's reasonably difficult to overdo the eggs this way when the heat is off. Just take anything up to sort of 5 minutes, depending on how big the egg is. A bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. As I say, I'm a big fan of just a little bit of cayenne on eggs, and then voila! I have some lovely poached eggs. Hope that helps.